When we last left this conversation, we were discussing the horrific, horrible, unthinkable situation with the Marvels, and now that we have all of the estimates for the weekend, none of the actuals yet, but it's at least time that we take stock of this utter dumpster fire, because as you can see right there, that drop off, man, like, I guess I was being far and away too optimistic for what was actually happening, because not a $40 million weekend, not a $30 million weekend. We got to leave that for Hunger Games and for the trolls, and I'm not talking about the internet personalities. We're discussing the Hunger Games a little bit tomorrow, and even still, it came in under expectations. Imagine that. And if the Marvels is anything to go on, you still anticipate even the film with the lowered budget to still end up losing money. How about all that faith that you place in Rachel Zegler? It's almost like these people can never learn from their previous mistakes. But talking about the Marvels, man, we talking about women. We're talking about the Marvels being a $10 million second weekend. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke there for a second. $10.2 million. And trust me, Disney and Marvel, they're going to need that extra .2 wherever they're going to get it. I'm looking forward to those actuals that come out maybe tomorrow, maybe on Tuesday. And, oh God, you just hope and pray at this point in time that it ends up getting adjusted in a certain way, because heaven forbid that you would have a tentpole Marvel production end up falling behind a B-rate horror film based on Thanksgiving, for God's sakes, because as it sits right now with the approximations, with the estimates, it's tied up, which is absolutely abysmal. So we got some records to discuss here right quick. The Marvels will become the first MCU title to fall short of $100 million domestically, because yeah, we've got everything that's right here, and as it sits right now, it's going to eventually cross $100 million internationally. But guys, it's going to fall well short in North America. Like, it's not even going to come close at all. It'll be lucky to touch 80, because that shit fell right the fuck off of a cliff. Look at this. This is horrific. At 2.8 on Friday, that was already bad enough, the 87% drop. But as you can see right here, man, the need to run this back correctly. 77, okay, rounded up for fun. 78% drop off. Guess what? That's another record that we'll be talking about very shortly. This is just a horrific bomb, which who could have possibly seen coming? The least likable, previously established character that you had out there. Instead of making a direct sequel off of that billion-dollar movie, which, guys, we're dealing with something that we never also thought possible by the end of this cinematic run. There's one lofty record that Disney holds under a different subsidiary of biggest fall off from sequel in regards to box office, and it's from Star Wars, The Force Awakens to The Last Jedi. I don't think that it's actually possible for the Marvels, but percentage-wise, if we start sussing out some numbers here, once we finally get the total post-mortem done, it's, my God, there's still more records to set. Like, this being the biggest box office ever pulled by a black female director, like, holy shit, man. You know, you got to give the flowers where they're due. Franchise entries like Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and Trolls band together, opened respectable levels. Respectable, like I said, tomorrow we'll delve into that a little bit deeper. And Trolls, I don't really care about that. It's just a toy movie. It's a goofy ass toy movie that I'm sure a lot of families went and checked out, as opposed to this horrific disaster that is the Marvels. Well, if below their precedence to take precedence, I don't know about the projections of the Trolls movie, but definitely for the Hunger Games. But I'm spoiling myself. However, the Marvels set another record after an MCU worst opening of $46.1 million. The film outdid itself with an estimated 78% drop to $10.2 million. It's neck and neck with opening of Eli Roth's Thanksgiving on Monday. We'll know which one landed at number 4. Exactly. Not every Disney MCU film is number 1 in its second weekend, but to place third or lower is without precedent. Oh, so there's another record. Okay, so we got 2 so far. Okay, never gonna hit $100 million domestically. Shout out. And then also not finish second in your sophomore weekend. Congratulations, you continue to break that glass ceiling. The $220 million production, are you retarded? Like, nobody buys that. It's not $220 million. That was through, what, like July of 2021? Like, September of 2022 is the last time that we have concrete numbers, and that was over 270. So I don't know where this cope for $220 million is, but regardless, you're losing copious amounts of money. At $65 million domestically, with no chance of reaching $100 million worldwide, would be lucky to gross $200 million worldwide. And again, it's not going to hit there. It's like, unless you leave it in theaters until 2024. If you leave it in there for a full year, it'll probably, by just law of averages, end up getting to $200 million. But it's not going to happen. It's going to lose a bunch of theaters, because as it sits right now at over 4,000 and only pulling in on and around $800 per day over the weekend. And then through last week, where it was doing horrifically, those number of theaters, even if they're just closed, are probably going to end up turning more of a profit. This is real bad, guys. Like, real bad. Marvel's collapses at the box office with a record-breaking second weekend drop that's worse than fucking Morbius, guys. Like, the meme movie. These bitches got beat by the meme movie. The Morbius Morbin Time movie. The shit that got put back into the theaters after the meme started to pop off had a lower box office, had a worse performance than that piece of shit. The thing that Matt Smith openly mocks when he was asked about, why'd you take that role? I did it for the money so I could do actual, acting gigs like House of the Dragon. Please be good for the second season. Anyways, the Marvels has experienced an unprecedented week 2 drop. It must be all of those bigots. See, it's clearly those sexist, misogynist men that this film was not made for. It is meant to show that representation is important, but no bitches turned out to the theaters. That's how important it is. 65% of your audience being male. Those 35% of women just didn't show up. They're self-hating misogynists and something, men most affected. Per Variety, the Marvel's box office has taken a huge hit in its second weekend after earning the lowest opening weekend of the entire MCU. It's now grossed an additional $10.2 million at the domestic box office, a staggering 79% drop. The worst weekend to drop for a comic book movie, even more than the 74% slump earned by the notorious Sony outing Morbius. I was help the film out by taking an R out for tax-related purposes, but nothing's going to help this. Although this box office result is grim, how are you going to attempt to polish this turd? The Marvel's release comes at a time when the MCU is already experiencing diminishing returns. Yeah, because the same reason that this thing flops so spectacularly is the same reason you're finding yourself in this situation. The writing, the characters have all been garbage for this point, not just for the past few releases, for fucking years. You have opened up the sewage pipe, expected everybody to just be fine with the scent, open wide, and accept anything that you dump out into theaters. But guess what? People had their breaking point. Although previous MCU movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, had a solid performance, but you can go ahead and chalk that up as the conclusion of a trilogy in its own self-contained cinematic arc, and it was heavily pushed as a James Gunn project who has name recognition in those circles in and of himself, and then also kind of a send-off of that prior era, because he's going to go off and make $0 and draw absolutely no dimes with DC. We'll look forward to that in a couple years' time. The prior movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantum Mania, previously posted the worst weekend 2 drop of the franchise. That title had a slump of only 69.9%, so just rounded up to 70 for fun. Still terrible. It is considerably, a more solid opening weekend gross of $106 million. Yeah. And that was just a part of that same trend. Thor: Love and Thunder ended up doing somewhere in the realm of 65% drop off or something like that. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, the exact same thing. Shang-Chi, The Eternals, all of those dumpster fire films, they did exactly the same stuff. It just hurts extra hard when you've got that record-setting drop off the back of a record-setting underperformance at the box office. However, the new movie is having the worst opening and the worst drop simultaneously is probably not a good sign. No, but hey, man, don't worry, though. There's going to be more outings for Captain Marvel. I almost got through that with a straight face. Something you can't can't say for Captain Marvel because she's gay, you know. MCU features future confirmed by Larson following the Marvel's release. There is definitely something. Does anybody want me back? Well, apparently Marvel does because they aren't done kicking their own ass. After finally making her proper franchise return with the Marvels, Brie Larson confirms knowing what Captain Marvel's Marvel Cinematic future holds. Having made her debut in 2019's solo movie, Larson's Carol Danvers has appeared in 5 total projects. I don't care. Following the movie's release, Entertainment Tonight spoke to Brie Larson to discuss the Marvels. When asked about her MCU future, the actor not only confirmed that Carol Danvers would return to the franchise. I'm sure. Fantastic. Oh my god. Actually, that just legitimately clicked right here. Last week, if you guys didn't catch it, I did a breakdown of some of the spoilers for the, I think, scrapped plan for Captain Black Falcon America, Brave New World Order, whatever the piss that's going to be eventually when it comes out a couple years from now. But there was one spoiler that was in there where they were trying to get a hold of Carol Danvers in order to stop Red Hulk from traipsing around, but the automatic win button in the MCU couldn't be bothered to turn out for a black guy, so just a big racist that's right there. Is that alluding to the fact that those spoilers might have been true? Holy shit. When asked, about her future, she also teased she knows exactly where Captain Marvel will appear. Oh my god, I think that's correct. Though she keeps mum on the project and said, expressing her excitement to keep exploring the character. I don't want Marvel to come to me. To come for me. Okay, interesting. But there is something. There's definitely something to answer your question, and I would want to say that but I am not going to. I think that there is still so much inside of Carol. Well, no, I think you made that pretty obvious. I feel like Merch getting to be on this team just cracked her open in ways that she hasn't been. Pause. And I really loved that for her. I just loved her letting the shoulders drop a little bit. Well, next time, in order to pop a fucking rating and maybe make some money, you're gonna have to let the top drop a little bit and not feel like all the responsibility was on her. So I think that there is so much more to go. Yeah, but that's nice that you think that. Maybe you're trying to put a positive spin on this absolute abomination. Sorry, that's another Marvel character, but still a fitting description of this box office bomb. But this is an all-timer, man. In a year where we have all-timer news stories, the Marvels being the death knell in the MCU was one that we probably foreseen, but we also didn't anticipate the stake being driven into Disney Marvel's heart this fucking deep or this goddamn violently. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.